chauffeur license to try to start him a limo business.
That's what is he starting that now?
Unless he's smart enough to do it on his own. In on that.
You already in? I bought you from backstage.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Power belongs to God. And let me tell you this, it pays to trust and serve God. He will do more than you ever expected. It's your main man, Action Jackson, and it is Tell Me Something Good Tuesday. Let me tell you, I just told you something good. Trust God, and in all thy ways acknowledge him. And you know what? I promise you, he will direct your path. I am a living witness that if you allow God to lead, he will take you where you need to be. We got a great show for you today. Of course, we have community chatter with Wynona Redmond of Win-Win Communications, and we have some hot topics. Listen, there are great things happening in the city, and there's some crazy things happening in the country. But listen, we're going to talk all about that when we get back. Call your friends and your frenemies. Tell them to tune in to the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. I didn't get to read it.
It's about Chris. Be social.
Tell me now, hey, you want to do on the road? You want to?
She ain't coming?
She's coming. She's going to be late, though.
Be different. Be Queez.
Queez, a new luxury brand
Yeah,
of
she's
Jamaica hair. Queez comes in
mute it for a second.
fragrances, the sensual, pure.
We can get that far, but he'll get one.
You probably want to use one.
I'll tell you what's going on. What's going on is Governor J.B. Pritzker is currently weighing the decision to pursue a third term as Illinois governor in the 2026 election. This contemplation is influenced by his potential aspirations for the presidency in 2028. While he has not made a definitive announcement, Pritzker has neither confirmed nor dismissed the possibility of a gubernatorial reelection bid. Now, the political landscape in Illinois is experiencing a period of uncertainty, particularly following Senator Dick Durbin's recent announcement of his retirement. This development has intensified speculation regarding Pritzker's future political plans. As the most prominent Democratic figure in the state, Pritzker's decision is anticipated to significantly influence the strategic direction of the Illinois Democratic Party. The reason I stuttered a little there is because I just started thinking about how, and I'm not saying he's not a good governor, but how we allow billionaires to use their money for influence. Now, there was a time where the most powerful Democratic person wasn't the richest, one of the richest ones in the state as well. It was, they worked very, 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 very hard to get that. Not saying the Governor Pritzker didn't, because so far he's doing an amazing job, and that's why he is running for, well, we believe he's going to run for president. So Pritzker's national profile has been on the rise, marked by his recent speech in New Hampshire, which garnered attention for his critical stance on former President Donald Trump and a call for increased activism among Democrats. This speech has fueled discussions about his potential candidacy in the 2028 presidential election. Now, despite the growing national attention, Pritzker has emphasized his commitment to the great state of Illinois, asserting that his primary focus remains on addressing the state's needs. He has indicated that any decision regarding future political endeavors will be made with careful consideration of his responsibilities as governor. The coming months are expected to be pivotal in determining Pritzker's political trajectory as he balances his gubernatorial duties with the possibility of national political ambition. So, if you if you didn't see it, Governor Pritzker was on Jimmy Kimmel Live. I am a big fan of Jimmy Kimmel. I'm gonna say it here so that we can mark this moment. It's 12/17 on May the 13th, the day before my birthday, by the way. And I love Jimmy Kimmel because I aspire to one day be a late night talk show host. And so I've studied the show, I watch it, and I ain't gonna lie, I thought Governor Pritzker would have done a lot better job, because when you get a national platform like that, you got to come out the gate swinging. And he wasn't, I wasn't that impressed, as a soon to be presidential contender, because you want people to remember you. You got to show. Well, we have not seen it since President Barack Obama, where a president was so cool and what you say, Drew? We won't see it again. But we're seeing something different because Donald Trump is cool in his own right to his own people. I'm speaking for the people. But I'll tell you this, I've been having this conversation, and we just have to pay attention to all the politics that is happening in our state and around the country, because these are crucial times. I was in a meeting this morning, and World Vision announced that they had to cut 120 jobs in the United States and 2,800 jobs internationally. So there's almost 3,000 people that are out of work. That's because the Donald Trump administration cut funding to U.S. aid. And so now they're anticipating that millions of people will die. But I was right. I said, but not on the back. But, I don't know the extreme of it, but we'll look into it. But I'll say this. A gentleman that I know that used to teach me some great things once said that when two men are fighting, the third man wins. And right now, the president is fighting the mayor, the governor is fighting the president. You know what, believe me, I'm telling you, be the third man, okay? Get what you can get while they fighting. Because trust me, they giving it out. Tammy, what you got to say? Governor Pritzker is trying to figure out if he's running for president. First he's trying to figure out if he's running for re-election for governor in 2026
or for president,
for president in 2028.
Well, actually I just got off of a call with
Governor Pritzker.
No, but an agency that was talking about the programs that Governor Pritzker has dedicated himself to continuing in Illinois. So the part of me is selfish and wants Governor Pritzker to stay in Illinois because he has been very child care friendly, right? And so that hasn't always been the case in previous governors, as we know. And so he's also an accessible governor. He would probably be the same kind of president. But then my global advocacy mindset would say he would be better served on a larger platform.
He could bring back Department of Education.
He could definitely do that. But he's the kind of person that listens to boots on the ground, and he listens to people who are actually doing the work. Of course, that's the kind of redundant boots on the ground. But he also infuses experts that kind of couch that boots on the ground experience and puts it into a viable systemic way that we can actually roll whatever it is we're rolling out. So I have nothing but accolades for Governor Pritzker. And he wasn't the first choice for me at first. But now that he has been in his role 2 terms, I think that whatever he decides to do, he's going to be very effective. Now, there are a lot of people that don't agree with Governor Pritzker, and maybe you're not in a field that he is passionate about or his administration has addressed. However, he's not the kind of person that is closed-minded to whatever it is. Now, he got some feedback, negative feedback on that cannabis rollout. Yep. But you know what? We all make mistakes, and we are all governed by the grace of God so that we can correct those mistakes. So I'm looking forward to him correcting that mistake.
He better. Well, oh Lord, Jarrell don't start clapping and saying amen till you talk about marijuana. But you know what? We're going to keep playing for Jarrell. But you know what? God is the source and the strength of our lives. And you know what? As long as God is on the throne, it doesn't matter who's in the White House, who's in the State House, or who's in the City House, because God is. Listen, it's your house, it's my house, it's all your house, but God is our refuge right here on the Brunch One. Don't mess up my outro. Okay. I like your lashes.
Thank you.
You trying to do what now?
Huh?
You trying to do what now?
Change the layout.
Justice.
I am. I need coffee. No, he did it wrong when he did cannabis. He said we're gonna make sure black people won, and no, black people didn't win.
You did? What's got to do with the cannabis? What's wrong with the layout?
No, you're talking about individual pre-rolls. We're talking about the industry at large that was supposed to be a social equity.
So he pulled that back?
No, it just didn't roll out like that.
He is smoking mirrors.
It was definitely
call a spade a spade. Because he's going to be running for president.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he got rolled out, right? Y'all just weren't supposed to catch him. They know what they was doing.
See, and I think that you might be right about that, but see, the legislators, because those are the people that you talk to on an individual basis, right?
I am exhausted.
Really? So anyway, what I was saying was your legislators, like your state reps or your state senators, they were the ones who actually wrote that bill, right? And so they were very intentional about the inclusivity of ex-felons who have been wrongfully or lawfully detained and incarcerated for marijuana, and now you're legalizing it, right? So they were supposed to get first dibs. If you had a criminal record that was connected to cannabis, then you were supposed to get first dibs so that some of that reparation would actually come your way. Well, it didn't roll out like that. So the bigger companies that had already been in the medical marijuana space took over.
You got commercials? All right, go to commercial so we can get to In the Raw. I need a pen. God is
Be fabulous. Be social.
I don't know if they let Pritzker be the president.
Because he's Jewish?
No,
I was about to say that, but I said that to somebody, and they said, why not? So I didn't get the research, but why not?
It has nothing to do with us.
I know, but I know.
Blacks and Jews have always.
But why America don't? Jews
It's the
run the
same thing
country.
that America doesn't want anybody that's not white, Anglo-Saxon, and male.
Yeah, you can't have a populist from Chicago and a president.
And get your favorite
Yeah, you
You
can.
can. Everything great comes from Chicago. But
They
listen,
gonna look at the murder rate and say this is what the country gonna look
so
like. I'm gonna let them run.
Facebook,
Come on,
a
bro.
white friend of mine said, "Ho, my bank, was talking about you. They want to meet you." And I had to let them know you black. I'm like, why? He was like, yeah, because they don't really like black people. I said, I don't really like white people. So because they're blonde hair, blue eyed white. I said, well, Minister Louis Farrakhan called them the devil.
Yeah, in the wrong.
Are you crazy right here now?
I'm just telling you what.
Are you? Do you know you're alive? Are you
Because
like
guess what?
crazy
The
enough?
moral is he was Jewish. Talking about them white people like that.
Okay.
We even talk about why they don't want a Jewish president. And you talk about the Anglo-Saxons don't like them. But it looks like the Jews are the ones that don't like all of the people. You don't want to talk about
The
that?
views and opinions. What's up, Gary? The views and opinions of Marcel Jackson are not consistent across the brunch. I think
That we in the raw.
So one of the things that I was very impressed about, or actually learned about at the Met Gala, was that Rihanna's pregnant with her third baby. Now that you said, dang, well, you wanted her to have your baby. Yeah, someone get off.
What the heck?
But there's some other news that happened at the Met Gala that we're gonna talk about. Well, Megyn Kelly goes on a rant about Blackity Black 2025 Met Gala. So then, a recent episode of her Sirius XM podcast, the Megyn Kelly Show media personality Megyn Kelly offered a scathing critic of the 2025 Met Gala, particularly targeting its theme, super fine tailoring Black style. Kelly disparaged the event as a parade of Black American leftists in their dandy style and dismissed the theme as leftist, academic, gobbledygook, suggesting that it was an attempt to make liberals appear more intelligent and superior. Well, Kelly's commentary extended to the attire of specific attendees, notably criticizing actress Halle Berry for what she perceived as the overly revealing clothing. But my perception of that, if you got the body, flaunt it until you can't. So she also mocked the fashion choices of other celebrities, describing them as featuring weird shapes and vaginas showing, thereby undermining the creative expression showcased at the event. Well, the Met Gala's theme aimed to celebrate Black fashion and cultural heritage, highlighting the significant contributions of Black designers and artists to the fashion industry. Well, however, Kelly's remarks were met with widespread backlash on social media. Black Twitter will drag you. I don't care who you are, where you are, what you are, they will bring you to your knees, with many accusing her of racial insensitivity and a lack of appreciation for the event's cultural significance. Well, this incident is not isolated. Kelly has a history of controversial statements regarding race and culture, and in 2018, she faced criticism for defending blackface Halloween costumes, which ultimately led to her departure from NBC. You would have thought she got enough, but apparently not. More recently, she has been accused of undermining the achievements of Black women in sports and media. Well, the controversy surrounding Kelly's comments on the Met Gala underscores ongoing tension and discussions about race, culture, and representation in media and fashion. The commercials that said there are only 7% of designers in the world, and particularly in the United States, that are Black. Well, I thought the Met Gala did a great job in inclusivity, particularly in a time where exclusivity has been more in the news. It also highlights the challenges faced when cultural events aim to celebrate diversity and inclusion, only to be met with criticism that some perceived as rooted in racism.
Well, I don't really have much to say about the Met Gala. I'll say this. Anna Winters, who is the coordinator, the creator of the Met Gala or whatever, asked Pharrell to partner with her and create this theme surrounded by Black, but she never once acknowledge that in any of the interviews.
Mm-mm.
Then I heard, and I hate to say this because I love Whoopi, but they asked Whoopi on the carpet at the Met Gala, what do you think about this theme in Black? And she said, they see us. They finally see us. And I was like, who cares?
Well, I
We
don't
should
understand.
see us, meaning them as in white people that don't look like us.
Yeah.
We got to quit fighting for others to see us. Let's see ourselves.
Well, no, I agree with that. But when you get on those larger stages, it does open up a whole different audience and a whole different demographic for whatever it is that you're selling. Then you want more people to buy. It's a numbers game. It's not necessarily just a race game or an inclusion game. It's a numbers game. So I had the opportunity to interview one of my favorite designers, local, but she's become global too, Barbara Bates, on Tamara Speaks podcast. And so the stories that you hear about how Black designers struggle, and then to get to a stage like the Met Gala. I mean, Pharrell did his thing and he should have got credit for. And if you ask for Black, you're going to get Black. And so what do you expect when you ask for it? And then it comes to fruition. Obviously, Megyn Kelly didn't do her homework because she should have known that this was going to be a very diverse situation. And when I say diverse, I'm talking about Black inclusion, because typically we don't. Well, you see all the celebrities go to the Met Gala. Even Maika, who has a brand, has been to the Met Gala. And Maika is our Pam Blackman's daughter, who actually does have a brand called Rich Girl Candy. And so she made it to the Met Gala. But we're talking about one-offs, right? Yeah. This was a chance for more than one to be recognized and be seen. So I thought
it worked.
It did. It did work.
Forget what Megyn Kelly talking about.
Well, unfortunately, a lot of the world doesn't forget what Megyn Kelly is talking about, because a lot of the world feels the same way that she does. And so, like you said, it's time for us to be more cohesive about taking that $261 billion that we swirl around in this American economy and putting it into our own economy.
Our own. For us, by us. And
about us.
When we see ourselves and not worry about them seeing us, we will continue to win. It's Charles Jenkins winning right here on the Brunch Bunch. Hey. Oh, the Reverend. Oh, I like it. Oh, look at the Reverend. Oh, yes.
What you think? The movie? Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be public knowledge. Okay.
And anything you say with LaShawn, Tammy's with it.
You got that right.
We're gonna go there this summer. It's just cool seeing.
And Tammy's the woe man.
Your birthday is tomorrow.
Yes, it is.
Reggie's birthday is today.
Sure is. I'm glad you said that. Her husband.
I don't have a husband.
Her future husband. Yeah. And you know what? Surprisingly, I know. I had to call and thank her for that.
You never thanked me for that.
I did.
You didn't thank me for introducing. You thanked me for coming.
And to introduce me. I was talking about you too. First of all, I'll be talking about that award because first of all, Wynona, I'm gonna thank you on that. I've gotten some awards. I'm grateful. That was the
that looked like art.
It looked good, but just the type of honor it was just amazing. I've been reflecting on that. And then Tammy was the icing on the cake.
Don't try to butter me.
I was talking about you to somebody this morning.
You don't know Dr. Sweetie Conway. This is her son, Cornelius.
Hi, Cornelius. How you feeling, man?
He lives in Argentina.
Oh, wow.
But he flew in because the conference is all week.
Wow, nice. How you like it out there?
I like it when it's warm. It kind of switches seasons. Like when it's hot over there, it's cold here, cold here.
Oh, wow.
So it's cool though.
Swap. Yeah.
Y'all ready? Got 10 seconds, though.
Really nice. Hi there, it's Wynona Redmond. It's time to
You're
win
crazy.
because it's time for
You,
Today Matters.
no other way to say it. You're crazy. He's crazy, y'all.
Of course, today is my favorite day of the week. This
So much
is,
reverb with your
yeah,
vocal
I'm
jack.
waiting on. All right. Well, there it is. You know, never
We
mind. We
live on
live on
that.
that.
But
But
I'll
I'll
say
say
this.
this: it is my favorite day of the week. It is Community Chatter Tuesday, and it's Wynona Redmond of Win-Win Communications. And you know what? Before we get started, Wynona had her second annual Dear Me Care Circles pre-Mother's Day brunch honoring caretakers, and I was one of the honorees. And when I say I've been talking about this award and the brunch because it was amazing, the testimonials, the stories, the other honorees, but I said this had to be one of the, if not the best honors that I've gotten because it really touched me. And I think Tammy said, and I heard you about the, no, Charmaine texted, I hear you choking up there. And I'm like, I never choke up in the speech, but to be honored for something that you do without, you don't do it for the accolades, or you don't get a check, or you don't get a pat on the back, and you don't get a how you doing most of the times. But Wynona, that award was a big hug, and that's what I could describe it as.
That's why the theme was love bears all things. You saw teddy bears everywhere. But my grandmother, the Ruby Butler, she was born and named Dear Me by my great grandparents Offie and Lily Pitts. And soon as she turned 18, she changed her name to Ruby. But she was born, her birth name was Dear Me. So when we say Dear Me Care Circle, it really is about family caregivers and caregivers.
Yeah.
And I named it in honor of my grandmother, and then the caregiving circle. Family caregivers are, you and so many, like Hermine Hartman was an honoree last year. Professional caregivers that take care of their family. And then you have to go and find caregivers, services and programs that we honor. That's why we did Whetstone.
Yes, and that was her first award
Okay.
in life, her first award, and to get an award for doing nursing, and she's new in it. Her whole family was thanking me for supporting.
But DearMeCareCircle.org is a community for caregivers, for resources and everything. Camille Lilly was there. Nate Rogers stole the show from Fox News because he's cared for his mother since she had a stroke when he was 20 years old. He's cared for his mom for over 20 years.
Yeah.
But May is a full month. And speaking of mothers, this was the second Mother's Day without my mom on Earth. But this is a way to honor her and survive Mother's Day with so many matriarchs in heaven. But May is a full month. It is Mother's Day month. Happy 5-year birthday to my Layla, my grand niece. But another mother that I am so incredibly impressed with is Dr. Sweetie Conway.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at the people like Jesse White, who has his trunk party coming up, he's been the father figure to so many in the Cabrini Green and public housing all over. Dr. Sweetie Conway is the mom of a beautiful son and daughter. It's just two of you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it's
right.
3 of us.
It's 3 of us.
Yeah.
But Dr. Sweetie Conway did well with her 3 children. But she also has mentored so many into the health field, and she even expanded it from being the doctor to multiple medical professions. But I'm so glad to have Dr. Sweetie Conway's son, Cornelius Conway. It's Minority Business Month. It's Minority Health Month. And the 8th annual free conference from I Am Able is this week at Rush. So welcome, Cornelius.
Woo, 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 woo. Welcome.
And, your mother, Dr. Sweetie Conway, not only is a great mother for Mother's Day to celebrate, but to just have been a doctor, mentor, and waymaker. But Cornelius, tell us your story. Tell us, you're back helping mom. It's a family business, but you've got the 8th annual conference, and there is a lot. We start with, tell them about I Am Able and where the name came from, and how do they go to your website?
For sure. So I Am Able came about in 2015 after the death of my cousin. It was Chicago, so a lot of shooting violence in the city, and we kind of thought about what are some of the things we can do as a family to mitigate mitigate the issue. There's a ton of nonviolence groups and programs out there, and I think our family has always been entrenched in education. So my mother, being a physician, she said, well, maybe I can make more physicians that look like us. So that was the goal. And I am able, is kind of like it's a story of Cain and Abel.
And it's ABEL, like the Bible.
Wow.
IamAble.org.
.org, yeah. It's often misspelled, but it is ABEL.
And it is biblical related.
Yeah, so that's how it came about. It's the 10th year that we've been running, and it's our 8th annual conference at Rush.
And it's jam-packed. So tell them the schedule. But before we tell them the schedule, you come with the financial side. You've got you came in for the conference. You're supporting Mom. Right. I know she's got a doctor. She's got a lawyer. In addition to the doctor she's making, but you've got the financial.
Oh, she works with lawyers and doctors.
She's got a daughter doctor who's went to high school with my nephew, Jonathan Simpson. Right. So, but you have you're the associate executive director of I Am Able, and but tell us what folks have in store for them this week.
They have a ton of stores. So anyone who's 16, 15. To 115, 116, and they're interested in careers in medicine, and they're interested in understanding the pathway to get there. It's tough, it's hard, but we have resources available to them. There's a ton of speakers that will be there, tons of exhibitors from multiple medical schools. If you're into the allied health fields like nursing, occupational therapy, I don't want to call it dentistry, allied health field, because that's their own thing, but dentistry. Everything from A to Z, it'll be there. And we also have a law track that my sister is running. We have a scientific poster session. We have a lawyer moot court competition, where it's kind of like when you're in high school, you have the prosecutor and the defense attorney.
Like a mock trial.
Like a mock trial.
So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, completely free?
Yep, completely free.
Wow.
And you've got some heck of a lineups. You got a women's luncheon on Wednesday.
That's on Thursday.
Thursday, you have the Women in Medicine luncheon at Rush.
Yep.
And then on Thursday evening, you've got Black Men in Medicine.
Yes, ma'am.
And Dr. Jeffrey Sterling, our Dr. Jeffrey Sterling, is the keynote speaker. And so all of these activities, and then you just have announced a whole series of white coats and graduates, but so folks will be able to come and find out more.
Yes, so they'll go to IamAble, ABEL.org, IamAble.org. You can go and register. The conference is free. There's some extra curricular activities that we have that have a payment, but the conference itself, for all the speaking events, everything else is completely free.
Wow.
And is there a cutoff for when people can register? Can they register on site? That you really want them to go to the website, right?
Yeah, we want them to register. We try to get there the day before, so it'll be beneficial if they can register by Wednesday night for Thursday. But yeah, register, get there, we'll take care of you.
Well, thank you. That's it's Minority Health.
I love what
Month.
you guys are doing.
It's Minority Business Month. And folks can also look at just donating and supporting these scholarships and these students and these programs, as well as, there are so many different business tracks in the medical field. So thank you, I Am Able. We love
so
Dr.
important.
Conway.
Sure,
and so proud of her, the generations coming to support their mom.
Yeah.
This is so important because the amount of Black doctors that are actually graduating and going into the field have dwindled exponentially. So to have an organization, IamAble.org, I'm saying it again, IamAble.org. If you have an interest in the medical field on whatever level, you definitely want to go, because they will hold your hand. Now, you're a previous pre-med
yes, ma'am.
student.
Did chemistry and graduated and worked in the oil additive field for a bit. Need money, so I was like, I need to go back to school and do something to give me a little more money. So I got my MBA over in DC and just been doing the business side ever since then.
That's awesome.
An international business. So.
Yeah.
So you are dual language, dual citizenship.
No, I would love to one day though.
Oh, but you can be. But the
Yeah,
dual language is amazing.
for
So
sure.
how is it? What are you extending any of these programs over into Argentina?
No, actually, I've been living there between there and Peru for the last almost it's gonna be a year. So I kind of just do that because I work remote.
Yeah.
But whenever my mom calls me and needs me,
You pull up.
Pull up.
We'll pull up this
We got,
weekend.
yep, we got a full week with I Am Able. And again, all walks of professionals, all walks.
Yeah.
Dr. David Ansel at Rush has always been one for equity and health.
Yeah.
So we love the support that they get from Rush as well.
So go to iamable.org. Thank you, brother. We're praying nothing but success for you. You deserve to win. I Am Able deserves to win, and everybody who shows up for the conference deserves to win. It's Tamla Man deserve to win right here on the Brunch Bunch.
Thank you. Good luck.
All right, you want to get a picture?
Thanks. And then we bring
No problem, man. Thank you for coming.
I'll see you Thursday with Dr. Sterling.
So the luncheon is free.
Luncheon and the dinner.
I know. I'm
The
just
Friday
kidding.
glitter session is actually.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
That's all we have. Soul food. That's free for everyone.
They actually do a good job. I was impressed with their soul food.
Tell them, come on. Soon as you're ready, I'll cut the song. Come on.
Should I put a rapper here?
Yeah, and then
How you doing, Ambrose?
Ambrose Marcel, nice to meet you. We got a chair down there for you.
I thought it was actually down
It is Action Jackson, man. I'm a little out of action today. I need that suit.
You know he got a tailor. He ain't introduced me to the tailor yet.
That's a nice suit.
I had to get rid of that one. I got a new one now.
Oh, do you?
I had to go get me a black one.
Hey, listen, that's the way. Mine is on 71st and State. I'm trying to get him to move to the west side.
Okay, where's your tailor?
Well, he was actually in Michigan. He comes here and do shows.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
Okay. And I got him. I love all
Wynona, let me know when you're ready.
Ready?
All right, Jarrell.
5, 4, 3, 2.
You're rocking with the Brunch Bunch right here on Inspiration 1390. It's your main man, Action Jackson. I'm proudly posted with the Queen of Snacks.
It's your girl Tamara Fair on the air, and I am proudly posted in the studio with a treasure of powerhouses. Right? Of course, Wynona brings the best guests. Let's do it, Wynona.
Well, the May is full of different months.
Yeah.
So it's maternal health. It is minority health. It's Women's Health Month, but it's also minority business. There are different things that we can have. But I'm so happy to have Reverend Robin Hood.
I love the name.
This gentleman, as you see, he's sharp, tailored suit and all. But
Always.
Reverend Hood has a heart, first and foremost, for the people in the community. And we've been, every guest we have today talk about the intersection of violence and the intersection of, you just heard Dr. Sweetie Conway's son, Cornelius, speak on I Am Able was started after they had a tragic loss.
Yeah.
Reverend Hood is buried his own grandson, and he's but he's been there for the community. Right now, whenever there is a cause, he is speaking up. He is no stranger to the TV, and we were just talking about his appearances on Vice episodes. So you've been on TV, and whenever he calls and says, I got something I need to get out and say, in Minority Business Month, we've got Ambrose Jackson, who's the CEO of the 1937 Group, and voted best dispensary in Central Illinois. He's created and rolled out cannabis brands sold in Illinois. But welcome. We always run out of time. Reverend Hood, welcome.
Welcome.
Jump right in to talk about you speaking up for businesses this month and making the case. I know Rep. LaShawn Ford just had a press conference, and Ambrose, we know that we're hearing pain on minority business. So welcome and tell us what's going on.
Well, it's always good to be here and to see you all because you all make a difference in our community.
Oh.
Listeners, they call me after I get off of your show. It's unbelievable. They're supposed to be at work. How did they listen to you?
They were listening at work. They were like on break.
Lunch break.
But here's what I want to do, Wynona. I want to let Ambrose go first to talk about what the problem is, and I'm going to connect it how it affects our community, our seniors, and our youth. If that's okay?
Sure.
Yeah, well, thank you, thank you. So, outside of being the CEO of the 1937 Group, which is a cannabis company here in Illinois, I'm the co-chair of an organization called the Black Cannabis Operators, and we represent a subset of what they call social equity companies in the regulated cannabis industry here in Illinois, right? And when you look at the rollout of legalization in Illinois, the social equity program we really believe was meant to repair the harms done against us in our communities. When you look at the history around the cannabis plant, how it's been weaponized and used against us for generations to lock us up, lock our family members up, affect our economic viability, right? And then as you look at what's going on nationally, right, with cannabis legalization being rolled out state by state across the country, billions upon billions of dollars being made. Not only were we locked up for the plant, we were also locked out of the industry.
That's
Yeah.
wow.
And so now there are a few of us who have stood up. I've been operational with my business in this industry in the state for about a year and a half, and what we're coming against now is just the fact that there's so many barriers just to being able to have a viable and sustainable company, right, in this industry. And so we're calling that out, and we want to draw attention to the various things and changes that we believe legislators need to enact now in order to make sure that we're still here a year from now.
Wow. You made some very good points about being locked up and locked out.
That's
And
double.
Yeah.
and so prior to you all coming, we were talking about how the intention and the rollout did not meet the actual rollout. Do you see that changing at all?
There's so many interests that are at the table right now, big money interests that tend to sway what happens, and in our case, nothing has happened, right? Regulation changed, allowing for recreational cannabis over 5 years ago. There has been no regulatory changes to help our industry at all since in those 5+ years. Right now, the cannabis industry, us in Illinois, we make up over $500 million of tax revenue. Right?
Wow.
At the same time, we're unsupported when it comes to the legislative side of things, and so yeah, without any change occurring right now, I don't see anything changing in the future. Right? We need their ears, and we need them to do something.
As someone who's boots on the ground, what would you want to change? What does change look like, and is it effective? Would it be that would be effective? I should say.
Yeah. So there's a few points that we're calling out specifically. And we can get into these with detail with various legislators and the bills that we're looking to pass. But it really comes down to a few things. One is that we are over regulated, and the fees are just astronomical. Right? We're paying $30, $40, $50,000 a year annually just for licenses for businesses in many cases that aren't even up and operational yet. Right?
Wow.
We're asking for a moratorium on those fees and a credit for past fees when we weren't even open. Right? I mean, excessive taxation, I mentioned before, is the other thing, right? We make up, as a cannabis industry, we bring in more revenue for the state in terms of taxes than all of alcohol, big alcohol combined.
Wow.
Really?
And it's like, this is a brand new industry. It just started. Why is it that we're bearing the brunt of the taxes? And it's killing our businesses. It's driving our customers across the border to other states like Michigan and to other areas. And so, it's affecting us on both sides of the coin, right? When you look at it from that standpoint, we drop the taxes to a reasonable amount, it's going to drive additional revenue and tax dollars, right?
So where are you at in this fight? So this is so you're seeing a few things: the moratorium, the credit. But where are you at in this fight?
We've tried to come together as an industry for multiple years now, and right at the last minute, the rug gets pulled out from under us during the various legislative sessions. And so, we're resilient people, right? Obviously, as you know, and we're not stopping. We're going to continue to be there. We're going to continue to make sure our voices are heard, our messages gets out, And right now, right, we need something passed. And so legislatively, we are working with some folks like Senator Representative LaShawn Ford.
Woo, 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 woo,
You know he will fight.
Oh
The
yeah.
Mandela man, he'll
Oh
fight.
yeah.
Mandela way.
We're bringing all together all of the constituents from the various sectors within the cannabis industry, and really, pushing to have a unified voice so that we can get the legislators, specifically the House, to pass what it is we're putting in front of them, take it to the Senate, and then have the governor sign off on it at that point.
$500 million in tax revenue is nothing to sneeze at, especially if it's on the plus side. But if all of you all united and closed your businesses for a day, do you know what an impact you would have?
Right.
Negative $500 million.
So I was going to ask before we go, because Reverend Robin Hood, the name says it all. You take from the rich and give to the poor. So what are we doing? What are we doing here?
Tie it up for us.
Don't worry, I don't have no weapons with me. So how it connects with the community. A lot of people that's listening to me saying, well, what Reverend Hood doing here with the weed man? Well, what I'm doing here is because it affects our community impactfully negatively. I'm just going to use names like Kookie and Shanika. They're not going to go buy no weed that costs too much money.
Sure.
Okay. So they still doing what? Buying weed off the street.
Mm-hmm.
And what we got in the street? Fentanyl and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay. It's been shipped here. So we're seeing a lot of deaths that the county won't even count as marijuana deaths because it has fentanyl in it.
Right.
That's important. The other piece that really got me is the seniors. See, one thing about these operators, they can't take credit cards or medical cards in order to sell. Well, their counterparts, the rich white people, they got it all. They can use credit cards at their stores and everything. And this is why you got people going out of the state. So it's still what? A public safety issue.
I'm glad you couched it like
So
that.
there's an equity issue here as well.
I'd also say to that point, there's an access issue, right? We have a robust medical patient population within Illinois, and I think part of what Reverend Hood is drawing attention to is the fact that us new entrants to the market are unable by law to even service them, right?
So these cancer patients, these other patients with pain, depression, they
have to drive 50, 60 miles past their local dispensary in order to get their medication because they won't open up the market and increase access.
Wow.
So we look at it just like the days of Prohibition.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you close the liquor store down and you go, or look at it like the bank and the currency exchange. Bank in front, currency exchange in the back. So what has happened? Our community are still buying off the street.
Yep.
Unsafe,
Unregulated.
And our black operators are not making a dime. So you were saying maybe they shut down for a day. At the rate this going, they're going to be shut down forever. If the state doesn't do anything this session, we only got a few weeks later, you can look for hearing others. It's happening across the country already.
Okay.
Black operators are closing their businesses because their government did not live up to the social equity part of it.
After all that money infusion for the fees and the licenses, you're closing?
Well, at the end of the day, that's money that's being extracted from us when we already don't have money, right? Like when they passed the law, the CRTA, they were supposed to actually provide money for us in the form of low interest loans and grants that come from those fees that are paid by the operators. Right, that money has not been dispersed, and that's a whole nother issue that we're calling attention to. Is like, how are we expected to put millions of dollars into these businesses to stand them up when we can't even go to the bank and get a loan? Because federally, it's illegal.
You can't even put your money in the bank.
Right.
So how do people? We always run out of time. Where do they go? What website? What can people do? What's the call to action?
I'd say. Go to Instagram, right? First of all, we start off our page with Black Cannabis Operators. That's one place you can definitely
Instagram, Black Cannabis Operators.
Tune in. I'd say message, like phone calls to your local representatives.
And contact State Representative LaShawn K. Ford because he wants to hear the voice of the people, particularly on this issue. He's been at the forefront fighting for it.
Absolutely.
He was one of the architects of the actual bill. And so we definitely want for him to hear the voice of the people about this industry that's affecting the people.
And you've got the Illinois Black Caucus with their 4 pillars. They have made history. And you've got a governor that has been really vocal on healthcare and equity. So we're going to keep hope alive.
Yeah.
We're going to keep hope alive. And I believe there's a will to do this, but it has to be done now.
All right. Well, listen, I hate to say we got to leave now, but we're going to keep fighting. And Reverend Hood, we want to have you back. We're praying for you and all of the Black operators. Believers, we're praying for you. Wynona, thank you again for all that you do. Believers, we keep love to. Happy birthday, Reggie. Why you did this say that, Jeff, too? Happy birthday, Reggie. We out. Bye. Don't you cut me off 3 seconds before? Y'all about to all make me cuss today.
That's 3 seconds forward. That's 3 seconds back. I'm just
No, my
saying.
name's Tammy, not Reggie.
Her fiance.
Oh, okay.
Fiance's birthday today.
You waving at me. You cutting me off, and you
All
take
right,
it up.
guys.
There.
Thank you,
You know
so
what?
much.
I already
for
got
tuning
one.
in. Truly appreciate you. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'm going to take it out on all of y'all. Oh, you know what?
She said.
That